Hi and welcome back to Extreme Climbing, and I'm actually back in this a little bit sooner than I was anticipating because after last playing this and last recording this I left it. I try as much as possible to leave reviews on games that either I really like or I feel like people need warning about, and I did leave a review on this. It was a don't recommend review. I feel I gave a fair assessment of my experience in this game. I also, said that I feel it could be something quite fun and everything, and all credit to the dev. They did reply and they said they'd address some of the stuff and that there was an update, and would I mind trying again. So they've gone to the trouble of trying to address the things that I mentioned in the review, so it's only fair that I come in and try it again. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head what they said they'd actually addressed, but there was things like the movement and stuff like that. I just noticed a thing as well. So these are models of my Quest 2 controllers, but I just realised as I look under my headset that they're not, one for one, they're about the right size, but what they're not is actually in line with my controllers. Like, if I hold my controller up in the way that was, that's how it is now. Yeah, it's kind of not in line. Anyway, that's a very, very minor nit. That's not important. I don't know why I selected that. It was already selected. Let's go. So I'm going to give this another go. See if climbing is any better. That doesn't seem to be loading. Oh, there we go. Whoa! Move the joystick by moving it forward, and I can't read that. That's really in my face. I can't begin to describe how. Okay, so there's literally no difference in the movement. There's no turning. I've absolutely no mucking about. I've updated the game. But look, I'm walking backwards for no good reason whatsoever. I wasn't, right, so I'm pushing forward, let go of the stick, move backwards, move forward. Yeah, the movement is just, this isn't, I'm not seeing any difference. I'm not seeing any difference at all. And there's no turn. It's strafe left and right. So this is an incredibly unconventional movement system. So strike one, they said that they'd improved the movement, and there's no difference there whatsoever. Right. What? Did that just kill me for walking over the edge? I don't know what happened there. Look, I can't even get to the wall. I can't. Every time I try and walk to the wall, it walks backwards again. It won't let me grab the wall. Oh my god. I'm pushing forwards and it's walking backwards. There we go. I had to literally grab on. So there seems to be the same issue as I mentioned before, that there's no rhyme or reason as to when a grip happens. Okay, I have definitely updated this. Like, I'm not joking, I've done an update. And I'm not seeing any difference. They said something about they'd done something addressing the handhold thing, because I commented on the fact that there was it really wasn't obvious why sometimes you get a grip and why sometimes you wouldn't. And they mentioned something about having addressed that, but they weren't really clear in how they'd addressed it. I gotta say though, I seem to be getting grips more often, but it makes no sense to me. As I mentioned in my first little outing in this, it's really not obvious why sometimes you'll get a grip and sometimes you won't. So I figure I'm still going to have the problem. You see, oh, there we go. I figure I'm still going to have the problem when I get to the top of actually trying to get onto the top was really tricky because of the problem of it walking backwards when you're trying to walk forwards. Right, why does it take so long to decide that it's gripped? No, it's not giving me a grip. That gripped. I think this is the most disappointing aspect of this game, is there doesn't seem to be any real skill element involved. There's no scope for developing any kind of skill in playing it, because it's not obvious why something would be a grip. Right. Okay, I've gripped. Now the problem is there. I hardly even touched the... It's walking me backwards for no reason. It's walking me backwards for no... After grabbing the step, move it behind you, below, then release the handle to stand on the... See, it's going to make me fall off there. I can't even move. I'm trying to walk forward. It's going to... There we go. It's such a good idea for a game, and so terribly implemented. So yeah, I'm going to give this one more go. But I can't turn. I can't stress this enough. It's such a bad movement system. I'm used to the idea of right stick as I go left and right would turn me around like that. Now, yes, I know I can move around using my body, and maybe that's part of the point. But give me the option, because like I don't need to be able to sort of strafe left and right. That's not necessary, especially given I can do it on the other stick as well. But also this walk forward and it makes me go backwards thing is just like, why? So yeah, I have to physically turn, which is not terrible. Did it go black because it walked me in to the wall? I think that's what it was, actually. I thought maybe it killed me. But... another thing that they did say. Do you know what I've just realised? Actually, bonus points. Okay, this is the one thing I do like. The other thing I'd mentioned is the music. The music was way too loud, and it was playing all the way through the climb, and as such there were no ambient sounds. And they've got rid of the music, which I actually really appreciate. And now there are ambient sounds of a city below me. I can hear birds and I can hear traffic, and every so often I think I can hear voices. So that's actually pretty cool. I like that. So that's an improvement. That is definitely something they've done in response to the review I left. So yeah, I appreciate that, and it does make it feel a little bit more immersive. Yeah, because that was my one complaint, was I didn't quite feel like I was in peril. If I think back to playing The Climb 2, because it's hard not to liken this to that. There was always that thing of like, I really felt like I was really high up and in danger. Why is that yellow? Okay, so that's green. Now it's yellow. And then it's yellow with a red out. So we know that the red is you've got a grip, but I don't understand the grip system. It makes no sense to me. So yeah, I did wonder if maybe... See, that's apparently a grip, that makes no sense. I did wonder if maybe the music and the lack of ambient noise was the thing that wasn't really helping. I'm not sure. Well, if I'm honest, I still don't have that sense of peril. I just feel like I'm waving my arms around and moving a mesh model. Like, yeah, I got no sense of danger in this whatsoever. Now, to be fair, I play a lot of VR. I have played a lot of VR. I've also played a lot of games where, you know, I feel in peril. The Climb 2, obviously, Mount Wingsuit, things like that, Boneworks, Bone Lab, you know, those kinds of things where you can get really high up. I do a lot of climbing stuff. So I'll happily admit that maybe I've been desensitized in some way, shape or form, but I also feel that I do, yeah, it's not giving me a grip anywhere. I do have the ability to sort of suspend disbelief and let myself feel in peril just to get the most out of the game. You know, you play VR games, you kind of get used to that. You get used to the idea of you almost role play while you're playing the game and let the visuals really help sell that. So I'm not getting a grip here, why not? Nowhere is letting me grip. There we go. But I'm not able to do that with this. It's just, I don't know what it is, but there's just something about this where it doesn't sell the experience to me, and I don't know why. Right, I'm going to carry on just trying to grip my way. Rather than walk, I'm just going to crawl. That's about the only way I can imagine doing this. Okay, right. I nearly made it up. What's the chances of actually making it all the way up again? So I've made it up to the top of this once, but then I couldn't figure out how to actually finish. I say this. Shit. I've lost my hands. I don't know what happened there. My hands kind of clipped inside. I didn't let go, so just lost grip from me, it seems. There we go. So yeah, I've climbed up, yeah, I will say this, and of course this is the Leaning Tower of Pisa. I've climbed up once. After reaching the top of the building, standing on the top platform will prompt success. Well, I don't think I believe that, because I actually tried that. I stood up! I literally stood up. Well, I'm going to try it like this. Why is the movement in this so bad? Do you know, I've had slightly dodgy controllers before. And I have been starting to wonder if maybe my left controller is starting to play up a little bit. So it could be there's an element of that, but it's such an extreme step back for no good reason. I can't get a grip. There we go. I don't understand this grip system at all. There we go. It's actually, I've made it to the top. This display here, it's not going to come across in the video, but it's like so in my face. It's so close. Not to mention, and you know, there is then this thing of like, I'm up here. Try again. I'm up here now. I'd like to actually enjoy the view, but no, it's got that thing in my face. I'm in the hole. There we go. But that's there. Let's go and have a quick look at the Statue of Liberty. Let's at least go and see what the environment looks like. Overall, I got to say, my opinion of this hasn't really changed. This is kind of cool though. I got to say, I like the idea of being able to come to these models and stand around them and everything. But there's a load of things. Oh, look at that! Look, I literally grabbed. Bonk. There's no reason for that. I didn't even I did the very mildest push forward on the stick, and it's walking me backwards. Even if I had some kind of dead zone issue with my control stick, I can't imagine why it would be so sensitive. It makes no sense. But at least I've unlocked one. It's taken me far too long to unlock the second climb. I feel this game has a serious pacing issue that isn't helped by some questionable design choices, or just things that need improving. The movement is, just to summarise things I've spoken about a lot now, the actual movement, the use of the sticks to move around in the world is very unconventional these days. It's almost like the author of this has never played a VR game. Because, okay, that face clipping thing is not great. Because I can't see why the movement needs to be different. I'm on board with and okay with the idea that some games may need a slightly unconventional movement scheme when it comes to using the fun sticks. Okay, fair enough. I might not like it, but it might make sense or whatever. But I can't see anything about this game that would require that. Which makes me wonder why it's done that way. It really does feel like... what was the game that I played a while back that was from the earlier days, I should say, of VR. Red Matter, that was it. And it had the most appalling movement system. But I could kind of excuse that because I feel that came from a time when no conventional standard had been decided upon. So, I could allow that. And by the time of Red Matter 2, they pretty much settled on what everyone else was doing. So, that made sense. And I've got so much muscle memory regarding that kind of movement that I like to feel I'm generally pretty dexterous in VR games these days if they have that very conventional way of moving. So I don't understand why it's chosen to do it so very differently in here, because it doesn't add anything to the climbing portion of the game. At least if it does, I've missed why and how. But at the same time, there's this thing of, when you get to the top, if you try walking forwards, it walks you backwards and throws you all the way off. It's a really bad choice, at least really early on in the game. I should have been able to climb the Leaning Tower. Very first go. The grip just... See, the grip just stopped gripping for no good reason, and then it threw me backwards for no good reason. Super weird. This is a great idea for a game. And while this isn't the most detailed game in terms of graphics and all that kind of stuff and everything, I feel it could be fun. I feel it could be a lot of fun, actually. But it needs a lot of work before I could recommend it. It's certainly a game that I'm not going to refund. There's no way I'm going to refund this, because I really sense that this is being built by someone who actually genuinely cares about what they're building and actually wants it to be good, but they've got some ways to go yet and probably need the feedback. What I would suggest though is I feel they need to try playing it themselves. But and this is a problem if you're a software developer in any, of any shape or size. Shape or size, you know what I mean? Not literal shape or size. Software developer of any kind of software, not just gamers. Game developers, I should say. It's really, really easy to do manual testing of your game, or your software, I should say. It's really easy to do manual testing of your code and test what you know is there. And so you use it based on the assumption that everyone has the knowledge of what it does, how it does it, and why it does it. It's the same as your knowledge. And of course, anyone who doesn't know what's gone into the code and doesn't know how it's supposed to do things and why it does things is just going to come at it with either come at it with complete ignorance or with a very different set of assumptions, probably learnt from more standard things. Have I got I've got a grip there. And I feel that if the dev is playing their own game, and I hope they are, that they're doing it staying within the bounds of what they know they've coded, and are not playing it as if they're just a random gamer who's played The Climb 2 and Boneworks and Bone Lab and Half-Life Alyx and whatever, any kind of game that's got movement and climbing and all that kind of stuff. They need to play it with that critical eye, working on the assumption that it'll be assessed against those standards. And I don't mean in terms of how it looks graphically. It's really hard for me to actually see where I am. I take it I'm going for the torch. And the problem is, and this is nothing to do with the game, this isn't a complaint about the game, I do still have the ongoing, and I don't think it's ever going to get, so the grip was lost on one hand there. I didn't quite get a grip on my right hand and it just let go of my left hand, so I'm trying to walk forward. Look at the bounce back there. I'm trying to walk forward so I can get going again. Nah. Like I say, I do like the ambience here as well. It makes sense. I think if anything, I'd want to hear, I'm in a harbour, right? And there's, 2 airports nearby here? Is it JFK and LaGuardia or something like that? I don't know. I'm trying to think back to my days of heavy flight singing and things like that. I feel like there should be the sound of aircraft coming in and taking off, and maybe the sound of boats, that kind of thing. But just, and presumably seagulls or something like that. But just the wind blowing is kind of cool. Also, this is a tourist attraction. You'd kind of want to have NPCs wandering around below you maybe, and just the voices, just people chattering, that kind of thing. But these are just niceties. But again, there's something about this that I'm still not getting a sense of peril, and I don't know why. I think in part as well, it is that there seems to be no... I don't understand the skill I'm supposed to be learning in terms of actually being able to do the climb. Oh, I'm actually higher than I realised. I wasn't paying attention to mini map that's kind of difficult to see. At least it's not in my face, but it's just out of my line of sight. I'm going to take this gently and carefully. Oh, come on, give me a grip. I'm sort of invested in this now because I can see. I take it I'm heading for the torch thing. Oh, do you know, I really want to like this because it's actually a neat idea. It is actually a neat idea, but I don't. I want it to. I want it to give me a real sense of danger, and I don't quite know how it would do that. There's something that the Climb 2 does right that this doesn't, and I don't know what it is. But then, yeah, I'm not a game dev, so I'm not really in a good place to actually assess that. But I feel I really want that sense of power. I don't, like, look where I am. Picture what it would be like for real. I would be terrified at this point. And I feel it should be possible to make me feel that scared in VR. And I'm not feeling it. But also, at this point, I really feel like I should be able to work out what I'm supposed to be doing to pull this last little bit off. It's not clear to me where the grips are, why I should be able to grip somewhere and not another place, that kind of thing. So I kind of feel like I'm not getting it's not giving me the thing to tell me if I'm at the top or not. Was I supposed to just go to her head or something? I'm at the top. I'm definitely at the top. Well, there's a city there. But I'm screwed now. I don't see how I complete. I feel like I'm at the top. I don't know why, but I don't feel like I'm in danger. And I feel like I want to feel like I'm in danger. I'm trying to grab. Got it. So there's nothing to actually indicate when I'm at the top. Like, this is definitely the top. So I don't understand how I finish. Yeah. This, it's a good idea, but it needs so much more work, I feel. Yeah, I've literally just made it to the top of the Statue of Liberty. Like, actually made it to the very, very top, and it didn't complete. It didn't unlock the next thing. And there's no indication of where I'm supposed to have gone. I like it. It's a nice idea, but it needs so much more work. I mean, obviously people are figuring it out, and there's some actually really impressive times there. But I don't know what's going on with the movement in this or anything like that. I'm happy to entertain the idea that maybe my left stick is playing up. I've had one controller in the past where pushing forward is registered as going backwards ever so slightly, but other than like a vague hint in a couple of other games that I've played recently where I've wondered if maybe that's happening, but this if it is happening, it's not happening to the extent that I'm seeing in here. I think in Compound a couple of weeks ago, which is the game I was playing when I actually had a controller break once before, there was a couple of moments where moving forward would then be a little step backwards at the end of it, and I was like, oh, is that happening, or am I imagining it? Because I'm still quite sensitive to that, having, how to sort out the controllers and everything. But in here, it's so damn extreme. It's like ridiculously extreme. So I don't know what's going on. I If you end up watching this dev, I really appreciate that you took on board some of the comments I made. I'm not convinced you actually did take on board all of the comments I made. I'm not even suggesting that you should have. But in your reply, fairly sure you said you'd done something about the movement. And I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that all the movement still works in this sort of really weird way. The grip thing, you mentioned you'd done something about it. I think I can see that the colours are ever so slightly differently on the back of the glove, but where's the explanation of what they mean? Where's the explanation of how I'm supposed to actually read those colours and what the point of them is? But also, more generally, the problem I have with the gripping system in this is it seems entirely random. There's nothing to show me or indicate to me where I'm supposed to grip. As I'm climbing something like this, like the Statue of Liberty, for example, it feels to me like there's certain places that would be sensible handholds and certain places that would be a really bad idea. And I think I'd want some indication on the model to show that, at least early on, at least in some of these early levels, maybe the first 3, maybe, I don't know. It would make sense. As I look at this as well, because there's no real, I feel like I'm not involved in the process of climbing. I feel like it is just literally a case of waving my hand in the air and trigger until something latches on. I feel like that removes me from the game. I feel like I'm not immersed. And as I look at these and as they get taller and taller, I feel by the time we get to some of these really big ones, I wouldn't want to do them because I'd be bored, because I'd just be stood here for 10 minutes or however long it takes looking at some of these here. I'm just doing this with no real involvement, no real skill needed or anything like that. It would be boring. I should be looking at these levels here, and I should be looking at like that one there, and like, oh my god, I can't wait to unlock that. That's going to be amazing. But actually, as I look at it, I'm like, I'm just going to stand here doing this and pressing the triggers with no real feedback loop, no real reward. Not to mention the fact that, if you get near as has happened with that and that, get to the top and then it throws you off. The idea of spending, I don't know, probably take me, ignoring times for there, it took me longer. I'm imagining 20 minutes, half an hour or something like that to get up that. Maybe even longer. I don't even know how tall that is. It won't even let me click on it to find out. To spend all that time and then get thrown off when you get to the top would just be like rage-inducing almost. I just noticed as well, if you watch carefully, when that gets recorded, I'm sure I see a mouse cursor appear and then fly off. There! I just saw the mouse cursor fly off there. So I feel another thing this is missing, and maybe it needs it, that like the Climb 2 has, which is every so often along the way of the climb, there are these sort of latching on points, which are basically save spots. So it feels like up these buildings or whatever, there should be areas where they're an obvious thing where you can kind of tether yourself to, as it were. Because the idea of climbing all the way up there and then failing just before the top or even at the top and having to start from the bottom again and go all the way up, that's not fun. That's not a game. That's not fun. The idea of being able to, at certain points, save, that makes sense. I'm also looking at these thinking, I get that they're in order of size, but like, wouldn't the pyramid be easier to climb than the Statue of Liberty? And also wouldn't be far easier to climb than the Leaning Tower of Pisa. I feel like of all the things on here, none of them are things that I could personally physically climb. But I feel I could probably climb the pyramid. Like, I don't imagine it would be piss easy, but I imagine, like, of all the things on there, that's the one that, you know, if someone said you have to pick one and you have to climb it, gun to your head, you have to do it, I go, yeah, okay, pyramid, like, duh. So it's weird that that's in third position as well. I get that it's probably all based on height, but, like, really? So I feel that like, maybe that should have been first. And there should be some mechanics properly introduced and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here. I feel I've given it a fair shot, and I am going to keep it installed, and I am going to keep an eye on it, because I have a sneaking suspicion that the dev behind this is ramping up their skills and are having fun building this. And I feel that this may be worth a revisit at some point in the future. I think this could turn into something actually really, really quite fun. But I think it's got a lot of work that needs doing. So I will probably tweak the text of my review to reflect the fact that the ambient sounds were better and stuff like that. But I'm not going to turn it into a recommend. And again, I'm saying that not as a... I don't make these videos to try and influence how a game is developed, and I don't do my reviews when I do them for the same reason. It's not a, oh, if you do exactly what I say, I'll give you a recommend. That's not the point. It is, you know, the review is written in a way that if someone came to me and said, oh, you've played extreme climbing, do you recommend it? I would be no. But here's why. Make your own choice. That's what I want the review to be. And so yeah, I'll update it to reflect the changes that have been made. But I can't see. Yeah, well, I'm not going to take I'm not going to change it from don't recommend to recommend, because in the state it's in at the moment, I don't feel it's ready for anyone to buy it yet. Anyway, from this dip into extreme climbing, thank you very much for watching. And goodbye.